The
There's
state has
nothing to cooperate
graciously
with.
agreed to assist you given your custodial status.
Okay, and I never
And
asked them to
frankly,
do
any
that.
attorney in this
I never asked them to
situation
do that, Your Honor.
would give us the order.
Did I or did I not? Did I ask them to do that? I did not ask them to do that. They
No,
volunteered.
The bottom line is that Darrell is right. He did not ask the prosecution to help him with the witness list, but he did get a major benefit out of it. How's it going, everyone? You're watching Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube, sightsoundsflavors.com. If at any point in time you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. We need more subs. We got to get out to more people so that we can get more comments down below. So you please leave a comment down below and smash that like button. That's right, folks. Darrell did not ask the prosecution to help him with the witness list. But why was he helped with the witness list? Because we saw when he reached out towards the end of the trial for folks to come and speak on his behalf. Remember how he said he was going to have upwards of 20, 30 people. They were going to be driving in from all over Wisconsin, arguably all over the country. I mean, him being a major rap star, him being such a, wonderful family man and whatnot, beloved in the community. What community, I don't know. Maybe the hip hop community, who knows? But some community somewhere, And he had 3 people show up, not a one in person, all via Zoom. So you can only imagine, now this is a legitimate argument, in my opinion, when, Judge Darrell would give him all of these, liberties and take so much abuse, because a lot of you believe she was trying to make it as to where he would not have a valid grounds for appeal. As you guys know, I give Judge Darrell 97%, but I think that she went a little too far. But I have to be honest with you, this would have been a completely legitimate, sort of strategy for him not to have grounds for an appeal. It's his witnesses list. Because, even though he was a pro se defendant and maybe lacked the funds and the resources to get them there, he had the ability to get them there, but he didn't have the initiative to get them there. He didn't have the initiative to follow through with requests and the protocol. I mean, he could not even follow decorum in court. He couldn't even be a decent person, which doesn't really require that much effort, but he failed miserably at that. And so I think prosecution team, the court, I think that they were well aware that if left to his own devices, he wouldn't have been able to get so much as one witness, let alone the number that he got. The only one witness that he would have gotten would have been Erica Patterson. But that was for his own selfish, demented means. He wanted to get her on there because he wanted to torment her again, because he wanted to show control over her again, because he wanted to make her look as, helpless as he could. Because they have a trauma bond, because he groomed her, because they have a history, because even when she was at the women's shelter with her friend who didn't take any crap from him, actually 2 friends, because Nicholas Kirby would be the second friend that stood up for her, she was still terrified of him. But that would have been the only witness that he would have been able to get up there. That's it. And not because he couldn't, not because he didn't have the resources, not because he didn't have money, not because he was shackled, none of that stuff. It's because he just didn't have the initiative. And so while he did not ask them to do that for him, they did it for him, I think, and I think correctly so, that he would not have grounds for an appeal. Because he could have said, look, I should have had an attorney next to me. Even though I was going to defend myself, I should have had an attorney next to me. That was a strategy of his for an appeal. Then he could have said the rush to judgment as a strategy. Then he could have said the fact that they didn't let him take the stand, even though they gave him multiple opportunities to do it. And he himself is a reason why he couldn't take the stand. But that would have been another. But then the witnesses. Not having the ability to have his own witnesses up there, and then, claimed any number of reasons why he couldn't have them there, might have been. So even though we're all, kind of like jokingly talking about the axing here, because again, the word is ask, okay? The active, present tense is asking, but axe is something that you use to chop wood. And axing is the process of using that item to chop wood or who knows what. And it just goes to show you that there's a lack of education. There's also, and I also think that he knew how to say, I think that a lot of people that say the word ax and axing, they know it's ask and they know it's asking. And they just choose to speak like that because of a defiance for the actual language, a defiance for the rules, the same reason why he stared down the judge, the same reason why he rolled his eyes, the same reason why he rubbed his face, the same reason why he had to be taken out to another court so many times, the same time that he didn't wear a shirt in the other court a couple of times. It's just defiance. Yes, he was uneducated, but I think ask and ax is pretty basic education. I mean, and so I think that he was doing that, maybe subconsciously, maybe not. Maybe he really is that uneducated. I don't know. And while it's true, he did not ask them to help him, he took great benefit by them helping him, if that makes any sense. And to me, it makes all of the sense. And, honestly, this person, and notice I say person because I'm trying not, one thing about me and Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube and also Everything Else channel on YouTube, the secondary channel, which we're getting close to 1,000 subs. Guys, please go to everythingelschannel.com. You put that in your toolbar, search bar, URL bar, whatever. You type in everythingelschannel.com. You don't have to put a big string of letters and numbers followed by YouTube channel. No, you just put everythingelschannel.com. Hit enter, go there, subscribe. Tons more of these videos there as well, and even less censored because this is a travel channel, Sight Sounds Flavors. Everything Else channel, I talk about it as it is. I mean, I just like all censorship removed. But my commentaries are pretty much like that anyways, unfiltered. That's why they're the unfiltered playlist here at Sight Sounds Flavors on YouTube. But, I do not insult Darrell Brooks. I really try not to insult Darrell Brooks. There's plenty of other channels that do, and no judgment of them, because the reality matter is that it is very easy to insult Darrell Brooks Jr., aside from what he did at the parade. Because what he did at the parade is heinous, it's disgusting, it's terrible. But a lot of people hate him in addition to that for what he did in the court, for how he treated those witnesses, for how he treated the court, for how he treated prosecution team, for how he treated, it's just, he's a very, very hateable guy, and hateable may not be a term. It may not be an actual word. I really doubt that it is, okay? But at the same time, he had some antics about him that didn't do him any favors, And again, funny that he uses the word ax instead of ask. And it's not, and sometimes people will say ax like, by accident. They'll say ask 3 or 4 times and then ax by accident. That's all he said was ax. He never said ask. He never even used the correct term once at a mistake. He just never acknowledged it. So to me, maybe he wasn't doing it consciously, because a lot of people also say that I give this guy way too much credit, that this guy, I'm thinking too far into his evil, that he's just evil by nature. And to me, that's hard to understand. Now, I'm not saying that people that say the word ax instead of ask are evil. I'm just saying that in my mind, I could see him, using that term instead of the correct term, maybe to elicit a response out of people like us, me making the video, you leaving a comment, maybe the court, maybe the prosecution team. I don't know. It's just weird to me that, something so basic escaped him as saying a word correctly and using it in the correct active present tense. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. But I will tell you, whether or not he axed or not, the prosecution did him a huge solid, and for the case, by ensuring that every witness he wanted was there. May not have been the order that he wanted, may not have been the amount of time that he wanted, but they were there. Beggars can't be choosers, even when they don't even ask. But I think that the prosecution did him a solid. But more importantly than him, they weren't doing him a solid as much as they were doing the case a solid, the community a solid. But I still think that they did him a solid. Because, even though he had a horrible case, he did a horrible job. He would have done an even worse job if he didn't have witnesses. And then he may have actually had grounds for an appeal on some level. So prosecution team, gets all the credit for this one. even though he didn't ask them. And the court, I don't think it put them up to it either. I think the prosecution did it all on their own. That's the other thing, guys. Sue Opper and the prosecution team get a lot of respect and should get a lot of accolades. And it's not because the judge put them up to it. And that's something that a lot of people kind of need to wrap their heads around, because we got a lot of people out there that are huge Judge Jorah supporters. I am a Judge Jorah supporter. I gave her a 97%. I mean, hey, last time I checked, that's a really good score. But you got to give a lot of the kudos to the prosecution as well. Whether or not Darrell axed them or not, prosecution did a solid for the case.